Well, let's compare living in Chicago, Illinois versus Greenville, North Carolina.
Let's hit it. Hi, it's Alan Victoria. Welcome to our channel and podcast.
And if this is your first time in our podcast YouTube channel, don't forget, subscribe and get notified.
Honestly, you call text all the time at 252-327-3357. And honestly, if you're looking to, even if you're talking about Chicago or any place, the reason people really look at our town in Greenville is because they're looking for a place that's safety and secure, affordable, convenience of location, because Greenville has all of that in spades compared to the rest of the country.
Exactly.
Maybe you're looking to build some sort of equity. We're a growing town. You want to have personal achievement. You want a home ownership on a box of success ladder. All of this helps at the end. Or maybe you're just looking for something simple where you just want a place for your family to thrive. Greenville wins all of those things. So we can't wait to break down, especially compared to Chicago.
Exactly. First in the list, we're gonna tap into the cost of living. Of course, we're gonna start with the Chicago, the median home cost in April 2023.
Hold on, before you get to the median home, I want to say Chicago is one of the few places in the country where groceries are taxed at a 2.2%. There's a restaurant tax of 0.25. These are just and then sales tax of 10.25. So you guys are paying a lot of taxes in Chicago, a lot.
Yes, and
now we'll go into your
now the median home cost in Chicago is almost $278,000 in April 2023 versus the Greenville $215,000. That means that we have a really big difference between the Chicago and Greenville. And if you're looking at the grocery, healthcare, the transportation, and you compare all these factors, it comes to two numbers, which is overall cost of Greenville is 84.2%. What about
of the national average? And if 100 is what the national average is, we are well below it, whereas Chicago is above it at 107.4.
Therefore, we have really almost 23.2% difference between the cost of living in Chicago and Greenville. Let's talk about
safety would be why another reason I would want to be here in Greenville than Chicago.
Well, we're gonna get to that point.
Rental
market in Chicago, the median rent for all bedrooms in right now we are looking at almost $1,800.
Whereas in Greenville it's $1,550.
Is $1,500 exactly. Therefore, you will see that almost $300 difference between the rental market between the two places. Now, my wife in the beginning of video explained, now we're gonna tap into the taxes.
So Chicago has some crazy taxes when we were doing this video. Apparently they were creative in creating 25 specialty taxes and fees. Taxes on parking, gas, liquor, bottled water. You have a crazy long list, which is unusual for me. You guys apparently even stream Netflix. I didn't know you could stream Netflix, but tax it. But apparently you guys are taxing Netflix. So, But let's talk about property, because that's what we know best.
Yes, the property taxes actually, the rate is 2.21% in Chicago. Therefore, if you are buying a home cost $250,000 in Chicago, you're looking at over $5,500 tax per year for your house that you are purchasing in Chicago.
Now that same house here, our tax rate is 0.87. So you're going to have on a $250,000 house a tax bill of $2,175. So right there alone, there's a $3,000 savings.
Yeah, $3,400 saving.
He always tells me exact numbers.
Therefore, now we're looking at the sales tax. No, what is the sales taxes in the Chicago?
Apparently, you guys have 10.25% sales tax. Apparently, state is 6.25, county is 1.75, city is 1.75. In Greenville, we think we have it high at 7 because there's that 4.75 state, and then the county is 2.25, but then that's it. There's no city as well.
Let's talk about the restaurant tax. There is a 1% tax addition to the sales tax for restaurants in Chicago. That's we don't have that specific tax in Greenville.
And let's talk about income taxes as well. So in Chicago, you guys have a flat income tax of 4.95%, and you do not tax retirement, which is interesting. Now, in Greenville, we are back on the progressive tax system, which goes between 5.25 and 5.99. So we are paying more of an income tax, a little bit more.
Exactly. What about the parking tax? Do we have a parking tax in Greenville?
I mean, listen, paying the airport of $9 a day, but I mean, that's what the airport costs here. But I mean, no.
But you have in Chicago 31.5% parking tax. This is crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Thinking about it. Gas tax.
We both have a gas tax, which is increasing the gas. They pay 38.7% to the gallon. We pay 36.2% to the gallon. Neither way sucks.
What about the liquor tax?
Chicago has a liquor tax of 0.23 per gallon for beer. You charge 2.86 gallon for wine and 8.55 for spirits. We have a liquor tax of 30% of the total price and 28 cents on wine.
Exactly. And now, on top of all of this crazy thing, you have a soda and bottle of water tax, which
so apparently you pay a nickel for bottled water, and you're paying for soda for one cent. We don't pay those things.
Exactly. Now let's talk about the weather. I think we can win this in Greenville.
Absolutely.
And let's talk about Chicago. What is the weather in Chicago?
Windy City is winter, cold, windy. All right, that's a windy city. So humidity has 4 seasons like we do. The highs, the lows are 16 to 21% typically in your winter. It can be lower, of course. It can go below 0. You guys can hit those frosts. You typically get a lot of snow in December through February, winter. You are getting quite windy. You get 34 miles an hour to gallon wind. That's why you're the windy city. You do get temperatures in the summer of like 84. 36 inches of rain a year. You get a lot of snow. And
don't mention that they're going to go below the 0 Fahrenheit, that we never go there. And in Greenville, basically, you have a pleasant 4 season. The best months really is May, April, and October in here. We have either we don't have any snow
like
or 1 inch of snow means one day for a couple of hours and melts away right away.
Obviously we're in a mild climate, so we do get winter, we do get the 4 seasons, but it's very mild compared to Chicago. Let's talk about that thing.
Safety.
I've been wanting to talk about this forever. Okay, so Chicago, you guys have per 1,000 residents. For violent crimes, 12.5%. For property taxes, 48.6%. So total crime for Chicago is 61.1.
According to the government website. And for Greenville, we have 4.06% for violent crime, 19.35% for property crime, and total 23.41%. Therefore, 61.1 versus 23.4.
Right. So, I mean,
that's crazy.
So Chicago, let's talk about it. You guys have some good hospitals. I'm going to give you that. You guys have good hospitals, really.
Yes.
They have 261 physicians per 100,000 people, whereas Greenville, we have 349 physicians per 100,000 people because we are a small town with a huge hospital.
Exactly. Therefore, you don't wait too much for a physician to visit you, and get the treatment. Next, talk about water quality. That's amazing thing. In basically Greenville, the water quality is 67 out of the 100. And what about Chicago? 31. Therefore, we are below national average because national average is 55 and Chicago is 31.
Okay, now let's talk about air quality. My husband loves talking about air quality, and I'm going to remind him about the time.
Yeah, the air quality from the EPA, the government entity, is really break down to respiratory illness risk and cancer risk. And for Chicago, respiratory risk is 56.4%, respect to the national level 38.5%, and cancer risk is 50.4%, respect to the national level of 46.6%.
Now in Greenville, we are 64 on the air quality in total. For respiratory illnesses, we are talking 28.6%. For cancer risk, 45%. So we are below average on all of those things. Now let's talk about the pollution. Yeah. So Chicago, you guys got American Lung Association gave you an F in the ozone layer. You have the 18th worst ozone population with 14 unhealthy ozone days per year, 4 times. And there's way more. And why? It's because of the industrial.
Exactly. And for the Greenville?
I don't know.
For the Greenville is much more less than here. Next one is going to be number 10. What is number 10? We are talking about traffic, of course. That is one of the most important things. What is in metropolitan of Chicago, people experiencing 73 hours delay to congestion, and this data is back to 2019, and it got worse because the government website still is not updated. However, for Greenville, this number is how much? 12 hours. Therefore, we are 6 times less trafficy than Chicago.
No, let's just talk about, be honest. Chicago winter, you guys have a brutal winter.
Number 11.
You guys have brutal winter. We do not have. We have 1 day of snow. We do get below freezing, but we're not talking for long. It's a snap.
The next one is finding a parking in different city, Chicago or Greenville. What is the finding parking in Chicago
Good luck
look like?
in Chicago. I grew up in a very similar situation. You have to be a master's at parallel parking. You have to fit in spots. You have to pay those taxes that we talked about. It's just crazy. You have to be able to have your debit card ready. Whereas in Greenville, we're way less expensive. You do not have to parallel park and find your way in. And we have public parking, and it's much easier.
Yes, and several public parking, but we don't pay any money.
Yeah. Now, what is this dibs thing?
Yes. The next one, number 13. Can you talk about that? Dibs issue in the city?
Okay, so apparently in Chicago, you guys are old school with like putting your chairs and your cones in the street to like claim that place that you clear it out as your own. So lawn chairs, tables, whatever it is that you put outside to keep your property, we do not have those things. You're parking in your own garage around here. So it's just, we're not dibs on parking around here. Public parking is public parking.
And the last one that we wanted to talk about is basement flooded with the sewage, no?
Ew, yucky. Chicago's drain water apparently has been combined with the sewer system in 1850. This means that when the snow is melting, pipes can get overwhelmed.
Exactly.
And it can start dripping into homes, which is really gross. It mostly happens in the lower incomes in the south and the west side. When the flood damages were costed, the last one in 2014 was $1.8 billion. That's like comparable to a hurricane if you want to have a hurricane. Now in Greenville, we are not right by the ocean, so we are close to the ocean, but you're not on the ocean, which means we're gonna get a hurricane, but it's gonna go through some land before it gets to us.
Anything that you wanted to add?
No, I think Greenville wins every time.
And thank you for watching our YouTube and podcast. Don't forget to call us and subscribe in our channel to support us.